Yo, what's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your homie Jay Greene back right now. Now check it out. We got another DC superhero film hitting theaters this weekend. I'm about to give y'all all my thoughts, opinions, and knowledge on the Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Shazam!
Now listen up. This movie is an extremely large mixed bag for your homie right now. There was definitely a lot that I like, some things that I loved, but everything kind of in between was pretty much something that didn't really work for me. Let me unpack some of those takeaways from this movie that really kind of gave me those issues throughout. So, this movie sees the return of the Shazam family. Now, since we last left them, they've been solving crime, helping people, and of course, doing what DCEU superheroes do best. Property damage.
Well, you can end up paying for all this yourself. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me.
Now, at this time, the Shazam family is very well versed in all of their powers. They've built out that layer. And of course, they're navigating their teen lives at the same time. Meanwhile, somewhere across town, out of town, you got the Sanderson sisters, and they're entering a museum looking for that broken staff from the first Shazam movie, the original staff, mind you, that gave Shazam his powers. Now, as the movie goes on, we're gonna, of course, find out why the Witches of Eastwick needed this staff so bad, why they're after the Shazam family, and what will actually happen to our realm if they can accomplish their task. Now, in the first movie, Freddy and Shazam, it's like their show, right? In this film, the Shazam family feels off for some reason, especially Shazam and Freddy. Freddy kind of goes his own way most of the entire film, and then Shazam is really focused on trying to hold together this family unit that made him feel so safe and so loved in the first movie. And I kind of did like to see Freddy and Shazam and even some of the other Shazam fam having some issues with each other, because it's not an over-the-top, unrealistic beef. It's just a simple type of beef that teenage homies would have around that age as you're growing up and thinking about what life has in store. I mean, just like the first movie, this film is also doing a pretty good job, at least in the beginning, at tackling some of those deeper, more real subjects that these guys are going to be dealing with, which of course is going to add layers to the characters over the films, and it's going to add an arc over the films as well. So that's just something that I feel in a movie like Shazam can kind of ground it and make it a little bit more relatable. Of course, I loved Helen Mirren. I mean, it's Helen Mirren. Anytime you add her to any film, it's automatically probably going to be better. And every scene that we got with her and Shazam, I really enjoyed. It was actually great chemistry they had, even though they're on opposite sides of the spectrum, if you will, right? And that scene that we see in the trailers where they're eating at those lunch tables plays out great and leads to some amazing action. Now, in this film, Freddy actually goes a little bit of a different direction and has a different level of confidence now that he's on that juice. And again, because we're seeing a little bit of that development for some of these main characters, it was also nice to see him get a little bit of attention and focus as he's trying to deal with regular life, superpowers, and where that's all gonna take him. In the beginning, it was those things that shined for me. I'm thinking we're gonna get a little bit more of that. Now, let's cut to what I didn't really care for. Now, even though I can see some of the differences that Freddy and Shazam were having, what I didn't like about all of that was the fact that the way the movie handled it didn't really develop it as much as they could have for me to buy into the fact that these two people that are damn near brothers, best friends from the first movie into this one, would actually be kind of like this standoffish or secretive about some of the things that they're doing. There's also not too much ground being covered with new developments with the Shazam family. I mean, these kids just got powers that turned them from children to grown superheroes, right? You think they would have a lot more to say about it than just acting like silly children, even as grown superheroes. Look, Billy as Shazam is goofy too, but he still takes care of business. These kids are just acting funny and childish. Another thing I could have used a little bit more development with was with the Real Housewives of Greek mythology. These chicks have a very interesting type of dynamic. Like, I really want to understand, why do they need this staff? I mean, if you have the magical skills and powers to get to the position and then do what you're doing, do you really need it? And then why are you so pissed off at Shazam? Like, if you know what really went down, why are you blaming him? He's clearly not someone who had direct responsibility with what jumped off. So there's just a lot to them. And then also, maybe if I knew some of that stuff over here, it would help me understand why one of the sisters does what she does in the end of the film. Because it don't really make sense. I mean, in the first movie, we got one sister who's concerned about school, what that's gonna look like for her. You got Freddie, he's dealing with bullies and how that's affecting his life. And then we see Billy finally find his mom, and after all that time and all those years of searching, she basically tells him to his face, yo, I never wanted you in the first place. Damn. So all of that development for friends and foster parents that would eventually become Billy's family in the first film was honestly the best part of that first film, and were needed in order for the emotional and the comedic moments to hit every time. In this film, the story works, it makes sense, I can really see it trying to shine through, but the narrative that was needed for the development of the characters, choices, and their motivations, it just wasn't there. I knew something looked off. I was like, what the hell? The whole time? Y'all didn't want to tell me? Anyway, David S. Sandberg is a great director at my eyes. From what he did with his Lights Out story to Annabelle creation and then to the first Shazam, to me, I gotta look at this film just as a bad day at the office. And I'll say that because of the unearned emotional beats, massively underdeveloped main characters, and the same old pointless minion-style army that we see at the end of hella superhero films these days, when the credits started rolling, I'm looking at the writer and director just comparing this film to the first one, like,
what the fuck happened to you, man? Your ass used to be beautiful.
So who is this movie for? It's for kids. It's for people that still want to be in the Shazam world. If you're the type of person that's not really putting too much thought into the character's motivations for a Shazam film, you just want to go listen to Zachary Levi, throw out some quips, and then kick ass, then to you, I would say this is probably worthy of a trip to the cinema. It feels a little slow to start, but when it goes, it goes. And while I have dumped on it just a little bit thus far, I will say that I think it's worthy of catching on HBO Max. All right, y'all, now let's break down some spoilers. I'm gonna say it again. I'm about to break down some spoilers. If you ain't seen this movie yet and you don't want to be spoiled, now is your opportunity to kick rocks, baby. So we're introduced to the mean girls in the beginning of the film. We're talking about Helen, Lucy, Rachel. Now, straight off the top, they're supposed to be sisters, right? But I'm thinking, damn, we know they all looking vastly different in age and ethnicity. I ain't mad. Just saying. Papa must have been a Rolling Stone, because don't none of his daughters look alike. Another thing that didn't make sense is that later in the film, the city girls have the upper hand. They about to win. But instead of just taking the win, Lucy Liu, she want to take over the whole world, our realm. Not just hers, but ours as well. Helen's like, you know what? Not a good idea. We don't need to do all that. Rachel, she's talking about, you know what? I agree. Not a good idea. We don't need to do all that. Now, once Lucy Liu feels like she's getting ganged up on and don't nobody want to do her plan, she turns into Whitney Houston's sister from The Bodyguard and has her dragging Tusk Helen Mirren straight through the back. God damn. I'm talking about a big gaping hole through the spinal column and the chest plate. Dies on the spot. She gone. Then later, during a big battle, Shazam needs her help and he thinks, I can go back over there and I can somehow revive her with my spirit fingers. Now, I didn't go to medical school. I didn't really pay that much attention in regular school either. But I have seen a few episodes of Grey's Anatomy. And something tells me that just because you got electricity in your fingers doesn't mean you can use them as a defibrillator and cure gaping hole in the chest. We're talking about, once again, through the spinal column and the chest plate. I'm pretty sure gaping holes don't work like that. So one, we never get a full understanding or any development into why Lucy Liu would turn on her sister that she's known, I would imagine, her entire life and been on many, many journeys and all of that. Two, the fact that literally if Shazam isn't able to revive this person with his spirit fingers, we all done. We die.
Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now?
So the convenience that he was able to bring her back to life long enough to bring the dome down, whatever, and then dust away like Thanos right when he accomplishes the mission is lunacy, egregious, preposterous, disrespectful, terrible. Now, this movie does have 2 post-credit scenes. The first one, hella funny. Second one, not so funny. The first one, we basically got 2 characters from Peacemaker chopping it up with Shazam. The banter back and forth, the communication, the body language, everything about that encounter was honestly funnier than anything in the entire film. I'm not saying I didn't chuckle once or twice in the movie. I'm not saying I didn't smile a few times. It was just weird to notice that I was actually more invested in that clip and everything that they were talking about, the back and forth and the potential to be, than anything that actually jumped off in the Shazam film. Damn. So once again, if you're someone like myself who needs more rich character development, an understanding of maybe why some of the characters are doing what they're doing so you can really kind of be drawn in and be invested, then this is definitely not going to be for you. But if you are someone who is also like me and can look over a couple of things, still have somewhat of a good time, know that it might not be for me on repeat viewing, but it was okay enough to enjoy and have a good time with some popcorn, then this one might be for you. In the end of the day, it's a very mixed bag, so I'm sure I didn't give you a strict conclusion, but this might be one that you got to check out and know for yourself. With all that said, thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. Again, if you are subscribed to my channel, I appreciate you. If you're not, please give me a like. Please give me a subscription. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, hook me up with a like. Hook me up with, wait. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hook me up with that like. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that like button. Yo, I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Your homie, Jay Greene, I'm out.